Angel Reese got a little bit of her own medicine last night from Kate Martin, who's pretty tight with Caitlin Clark. Now, she flopped around on the ground like she's LeBron's play cousin out there.
Angel Reese just had one of the most embarrassing moments of her career after colliding with Kate Martin and losing the game.
Some of the most embarrassing things we've ever seen happen on a basketball court.
It was supposed to be just another unrivaled league matchup, but Reese's frustration boiled over into what many fans are calling a deliberate act of aggression.
Kate Martin ain't playing. You will lose. Shit, don't mess with Kate Martin out there, folks.
Instead of a highlight-worthy play, it became a moment that defined everything wrong with Reese's game. But here's the kicker. Kate Martin wasn't fazed at all. She responded the best way possible, by dominating on both ends of the court. While Reese resorted to flops, missed layups, and reckless plays, Martin let her game do the talking.
This is her play of the night right here. This is what she needs to do a lot more of for the Sky, for the Rose. That nice little pass out to Lexi Hull, who knocked down the three-pointer. Luckily, nobody was there to see that. I'm sure there wasn't anybody watching on TV either.
Today, we're breaking down how Reese's antics backfired, how Martin humiliated her on the court, and why this moment proves Angel Reese is becoming more unlikable than ever. The rivalry between Angel Reese and Kate Martin has been brewing for years. Dating back to their college days, their matchups have always been intense.
The boil on Caitlin Clark's ass, Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups?
It's here that we need to just realize Angel Reese is playing, and she's been very big on herself as being a massive draw. If that is in fact the truth, then why are people not watching with the same excitedness that they were watching Caitlin Clark?
But this time, things went beyond competition and straight into chaos. In the first quarter, with the score close, Reese drove to the basket at full speed. Martin, known for her elite defense, held her ground. What happened next was shocking. Reese lowered her shoulder and slammed into Martin, sending her crashing to the floor.
Could you hit a rim? Could you not airball to the thousands of people that's watching on TV? It's a pretty poor-looking product on television. The announcer simply pretended Angel Reese airball on the three didn't happen.
The impact was immediate, but instead of concern for her opponent, Reese walked away as if nothing had happened. At first glance, some thought it was just a tough basketball play, but slow-motion replays told a different story. Fans pointed out that Reese didn't even make a real move toward the basket. She was charging straight at Martin. This wasn't a typical drive. This looked personal.
And I don't know what it is about Angel Reese. When she puts up real productive numbers, her teams lose. Angel Reese goes off and they lose. 3 for 5 from the field. My goodness. 17.7 boards, right?
Given Martin's well-known friendship with Caitlin Clark, many speculated that Reese was trying to send a message. But that message backfired spectacularly.
No way in hell does Angel Reese score on this if Martin doesn't foul her. Completely out of control. So she was driving to the basket. OMG, Kate almost sent back to the bayou.
Martin got back up immediately, refusing to be rattled. And from that moment forward, she took complete control of the game. Martin's ability to stay composed under pressure was on full display. She didn't react emotionally, didn't get caught up in unnecessary confrontations. She simply played smart, strategic basketball.
We can see right here, I don't think my girl Angel has been working on layups at all, bro. I think Angel is focused on everything off the court. Doesn't look like she's polished or added to her game at all. Another season of this, and she'll fade into the woodwork.
This showed a level of professionalism and maturity that Reese still seems to lack. What made things worse for Reese was the reaction from fans and analysts. On social media, fans started calling out Reese for going too far, pointing out that this wasn't the first time she's had overly aggressive moments that crossed the line.
Nobody is coming close to the power of the Caitlin Clark effect. Like, they're just not.
You and I both know, right? We both know. No Caitlin Clark, no watch. No Caitlin Clark in the league, no watch. Caitlin Clark's in that league, viewership doubles, if not triple.
Sports analysts broke down the footage, highlighting how Reese's approach was reckless and unnecessary, emphasizing that Martin was simply playing the game the right way. Even some former players chimed in, calling for more accountability in the unrivaled league, and questioning if this style of play is what the league should promote.
cool new modernizations and this whole new league that was just built and is now making its debut, fans aren't really buying into it as of this point. The games have averaged about 312,000 viewers across TNT and True TV, which is their broadcast partners. Those numbers, just to put into a little bit of perspective, while they seem like, okay, we've got over 312, when you put them in comparison to some of the WNBA numbers, specifically the WNBA numbers that featured Caitlin Clark playing in a game, they are actually very low.
Adding to the embarrassment, Martin didn't even acknowledge Reese's antics. While Reese walked around with a smug look, acting like she had accomplished something, Martin was already back on defense, ready to lock her down. And that's exactly what happened next.
The one thing we know that women's basketball is not comfortable with, good marketing. Caitlin Clark are good marketing. I mean, Caitlin Clark comes in the WNBA, their cash cow, shows up, they avoid her. They think Caitlin Clark is the COVID. The whole league just tried to stay away from her as much as humanly possible when they should be entirely leaning in.
After the reckless collision, it was clear that Martin was playing with a purpose. She locked in defensively, forcing Reese into bad shots, turnovers, and missed layups. While Reese flailed and flopped, Martin made sure her play spoke louder than any trash talk ever could.
But no one's tuning in to watch Angel Reese. It's just not happening. She's not Michael Jordan. She's not Magic Johnson. She's not Larry Bird. She's someone that taunted Caitlin Clark. Those are the facts.
Reese's struggles only got worse as the game went on. She missed multiple layups, airballed a wide-open three-pointer, and flopped dramatically after minor contact. Social media erupted with fans roasting her performance, with comments like, "Kate Martin just sent Angel Reese back to the bayou. That wasn't basketball. That was payback. Reese out here looking like an amateur while Martin puts on a clinic."
The Rose BC. It's a terrible name. It really is. Well, Angel Reese plays for said team. The Rose BC. Where did they come up with the names in this league? They're awful. They're terrible.
Even the game announcers seemed to ignore Reese's mistakes, trying to pretend the air balls and turnovers weren't happening. But fans weren't fooled. The reality was right there for everyone to see. Kate Martin was in full control, and Angel Reese was crumbling under pressure.
The Clark effect led to WNBA games that didn't even feature Clark drawing an average of 400,000 viewers. It's the Caitlin Clark effect.
The Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky game, 2.3 million. Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever, 2.25 million. Fever versus the Storm, 2.2 million. Sun versus the Fever, 2.1 million. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying.
The contrast between the two players could not have been clearer. While Martin was composed, confident, and effective, Reese was erratic, unfocused, and ineffective. She kept looking to the referees for calls that weren't coming, and as frustration built up, her play got even sloppier.
WNBA players, along with their pretend friends in the mainstream media, they downplayed the impact of Caitlin Clark. It is amazing how pretend hatred and fake outrage magically seem to disappear when it comes to making money.
The moment wasn't just about one game. It became a perfect example of why Reese's game is failing at the professional level. Angel Reese was supposed to be a major star in the unrivaled league. The media hyped her up as one of the most important players in women's basketball. Yet every time she steps onto the court, she proves that the hype doesn't match reality.
Caitlin Clark already has money. She signed a $28 million deal with Nike. She's got endorsement deals from State Farm and a handful of other companies. Caitlin Clark doesn't necessarily need the money. It doesn't make sense. You have downplayed her impact, her importance all season, and all of a sudden, you're offering her $1 million along with a ownership stake in your new league?
Her inconsistency, lack of scoring ability, and constant theatrics have become a major turnoff for fans. While she talks a big game on social media and in interviews, her performances keep leaving people disappointed. The biggest problem? She blames everyone but herself. Instead of working on her game, she constantly targets Caitlin Clark and complains about unfair treatment.
They are offering Caitlin Clark $1 million for 2 months of her services. Players didn't like Caitlin Clark. Why would they be willing to make her the highest paid player in their new league? The idea to offer Caitlin Clark this money, it did not come from WNBA players. It came directly from TNT. Without Caitlin Clark, this league is a polished turd. I mean, why would Angel Reese want Caitlin Clark in this new league? If Caitlin Clark is there, the spotlight of Angel Reese, it becomes a shadow.
But when you airball layups on national television and flop around like a soccer player, fans start to lose patience. Reese's reputation has taken a serious hit in recent months, and it's not just because of her poor performances. Fans are tired of the constant drama, the unnecessary physicality, and the excuses.
Some spoilers from the video. So she never misses 2 3-pointers in a row throughout these 54 shots that she took. Somebody said, how about she tries with a size 7 when that happens? We know that that also will not be a problem for Caitlin because she's already shooting. So even though we are not able to see Caitlin Clark play in an organized league this offseason, we are getting to see her go game speed, and it'll just be really exciting to see how these little tweaks add up to the full package of Caitlin Clark gameplay that we will hopefully see during this next WNBA season.
Even those who once supported her are starting to see the pattern. When things don't go her way, Reese resorts to blaming others instead of improving her game. The worst part for Reese, she can't escape the Caitlin Clark effect. Even when Clark isn't playing, she overshadows everyone in the league. The WNBA ratings are proof. Clark's games draw millions of viewers while Reese's barely make a dent.
According to the media, this league is filled with star power. Angel Reese might be well known. Angel Reese may be a star on social media, but there's a huge difference between a star and a draw.
Nobody is coming close to the power of the Caitlin Clark effect. Like, they're just not.
The boil on Caitlin Clark's ass, Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layup?
Even in the unrivaled league, where Reese was supposed to shine, the league's viewership numbers are tanking. Meanwhile, Kate Martin's performance in this game showed why real basketball fans respect skill over drama.
It's going to be Steph Curry and Klay Thompson versus Sabrina Ionescu and Caitlin Clark. Someone else said Steph hit 100+ threes in a row, and that's very true. And I know also that Steph is going to be super hyped for this matchup. He's not going to miss out on having Times Athlete of the Year, the most famous basketball player in the world at this moment, in Caitlin Clark at NBA All-Star Weekend. With it getting closer to NBA All-Star, but I guarantee you that she is preparing for this NBA three-point shooting contest. Somebody said, how about she tries with a size 7 when that happens? We know that that also will not be a problem for Caitlin because she's already shooting.
She didn't need to talk. She didn't need to flop. She just played the game, and she played it better than Reese in every possible way. Martin's quiet confidence and ability to perform under pressure are exactly what fans want to see in professional basketball players. This is the kind of attitude that leads to long-term success, while Reese's approach is leading her down a very different path.
Now, Caitlin Clark also just celebrated a birthday a couple days ago, and for her birthday, she was in the gym, and she went 50 for 54 from 3 on her birthday. And so as you can see, Coach Keith Porter is there. Coach KP told me that one of his goals for Caitlin was just to expand her bag. So no matter what defense is thrown at her, she has something for it. Caitlin Clark wants to drop 20 or 30 a game. They're just going to have to accept that because there's not much they can do to stop her.
If Reese wants to salvage her reputation, she needs to make serious changes.
Caitlin Clark is selling out everywhere she goes. Last season, the WNBA had to move road games out of high school gyms into actual NBA arenas just to accommodate the demand.
It is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. If you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing.
America sent them a clear reminder. We are not interested in watching pretend basketball. We have 30 years of evidence that proves women's basketball does not draw on television. We have 30 years of evidence that proves Americans are not interested in women's basketball.
Jealousy and envy and delusion all mixed together. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're delusional. People are watching these games because of Caitlin Clark. Oh boy, if I say what I really think, these black women and these feminist white women are not going to sleep with me. And I may lose my job. They're going to come after my job. We're not in position to say to an Angel Reese, shut up.
She has to focus on improving her game instead of relying on physicality and theatrics. She needs to stop making excuses and start taking responsibility. Because right now her career is heading in the wrong direction, and performances like this one only accelerate that decline.
The main reason Unrivaled is failing, they have not given you a reason to watch.
You and I both know, right? We both know. No Caitlin Clark, no watch. No Caitlin Clark in the league, no watch. Caitlin Clark's in that league viewership doubles, if not triple.
But you ain't got nothing to do with these record ratings and all of that. Yes, you play a little bit role, but that role is over. Yes, you taunted Caitlin Clark. It's a delusion that's embarrassing and can't be stopped.
Caitlin Clark's star is only going to shine brighter because she handles herself with grace and class.
They were mentioning Caitlin Clark's name just as much as they were mentioning Taylor Swift, which shows you that even the NFL recognizes the power of Caitlin Clark. She's become completely mainstream. She is a household name. Most people who know Caitlin Clark probably are not WNBA fans, but they know of her because of her greatness.
This game wasn't just a loss for Angel Reese. It was a complete exposure of her weaknesses. The reckless play, the embarrassing misses, the dramatic flops, it all added up to one undeniable fact. Angel Reese isn't as dominant as she claims to be. Meanwhile, Kate Martin walked away with a win, the respect of fans, and another highlight in her growing career. So now the big question, is Angel Reese hurting her own reputation beyond repair? Has her obsession with Caitlin Clark and unnecessary drama finally caught up to her? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.
Caitlin Clark is white, and because she's white, and because she's considered box office and she's a star who happens to be white, that is why Eminem, when I brought up words like envy or jealous or resentment, whatever word you wanted to pick, I didn't say it in a negative fashion like, oh my God, it's a problem. I used the word justified. You know why? Because black people throughout this country have felt that level of ire because we know we've got to be twice as good to get half as much. We know we've got to extend ourselves. We know we've got to put ourselves on Front Street to have a shot at getting half. Pick a profession. Pick a name. Ask yourself, pick the biggest star. Pick the biggest star in podcasts. Pick the biggest star in television. Pick the biggest star in sports or whatever. That's black. And ask yourself the question that we all ask. If they were white, what would they be? How much money would we get paid if we were white? How receptive would America be to us? Because it's still 60% of the population when the white populace in this country is dipped from 90 to 85 to 80 to 70 to now 60% and dipping, okay? Even now, you have a situation where you get somebody who happens to be white and they're a star and they deserve the acclaim. They receive something we know we wouldn't receive on that level. Why do you think I say on national television, when white folks catch a cold, black folks catch pneumonia? Because it's always worse for us. There's always an extra challenge. We always have to go through more. It's not a secret. We get it. And so all I'm trying to say to you is when Angel Reese said what she said, let's read between the lines. Because what she's really saying is that this is really not a big deal. We're making it a big deal because of what I did and who I did it to.